All right. What's going on, everyone? We are 2 days out. It's 2 days. Are you excited? I'm pumped. Tomorrow night, we're going to be able to pre-download the Path of Exile 2 files. Check out my video for that. But today, Grinding Your Games has given us a little teaser, or a little bit of news, so to speak, with 2 of the Ascendancy classes for each of the 6 early access characters that we get to play. So I'm going to dive into these today, and hopefully it'll help you kind of pick what you might want to start for your early access launch. But if you're like me, it's probably going to confuse you even more, because everything is probably going to be even more exciting and hype. Mega hype. Before we get into that, though, if you like Path of Exile 2 content, maybe if you're new to the channel, give me a like, a subscribe. I've been noticing like 99% of you aren't subscribed. Please subscribe. And we'll get into this. So, we're going to have 10 classes when the full game launches. But for early access, they're going to let us try out 6 of them. And it's also my understanding, if it's like Path of Exile 1, each class should have 3 Ascendancy class choices. With early access, we're getting 2. Now, I am going to separate this into chapters if you want to view, just the Sorceress or the Warrior. But I highly recommend checking out all of it, because I really do think that there's probably going to be some things in here, knowing Grinding Gear games, that is going to be game-changing. I mean, there's going to be some Ascendancy choices that are probably just wild. So I'm going to come at this from a Diablo 2 fan and a Path of Exile 1 player, and just try to give my perspective and just first takes on what this might mean, or just random how some of these can be combined. So yeah, let's jump in. What is Ascendancy? So you can pick your character class, and at a certain point in the game, you'll have a certain type of trial or boss to kill that is going to unlock your Ascendancy. So it's an extra part of your skill tree that's going to really start to define that class identity for whatever you pick. So, and if it's the same as Path of Exile 1, we're going to be able to acquire 8 Ascendancy skills, which can unlock a maximum of 4 Ascendancy notables. And these are normally skills that change the game. I mean, big time. So let's jump into all of these. I'm going to start with the Sorceress. This is going to be a pretty long video, but let's break it down. So here we go. At the start of early access in Path of Exile 2, each of the 6 character classes will have 2 Ascendancy classes available. To help you choose your path, we're revealing all 12 Ascendancies in this news post. Thanks, GGG. All right, let's get it. Sorceress! Disclaimer, I've been thinking I'm probably going to go Warrior or Monk. Let's see how I feel after this. Also, I'd love to see if any of this really stirs you up and you're really pumped. Let me know in the comments as we're going through. So here we go. Sorceress. First one they're revealing to us is the Stormweaver. Gotta say, I can't wait to see just all of the magic effects in the game. All right, Sorceress Stormweaver. So you can kind of see, I like how they've given this kind of custom art for the pathing and stuff. So you can see how they line up 1 through 10. There's 10 notable options. So what I mean by a maximum of 4 notables is normally there's a minor and then a notable. It takes 2 points to get to 1 notable. And some of these chain into better ones. So there's 1 and then a notable for 2, and then 1 and then 3. These probably have relation to each other. So let's check them out. So number 1. Scouring Winds. Exposure you inflict lowers the affected resistance by an additional 20%. That's amazing. I remember in Path of Exile 1, you can inflict cold exposure, for example, and when you do that, it lowers their cold resistance by a certain amount. So this is saying that basically your exposures are even stronger. That's good. All right, so I guess not much really to speak about that one. Tempest Caller grants the skill Elemental Storm and trigger Elemental Storm on critical hit with spells. Okay. Diablo 2, I like Thunderstorm. I actually have a Thunderstorm build. You should check that video. Elemental Storm, I love how they give you kind of what this skill is so that we know what we're looking at here. It creates a stationary fire, cold, or lightning storm at a target location for a duration, based on the highest elemental damage type for the hit that triggered the storm. Hits which do not deal elemental damage will not trigger the storm. Okay, so you're triggering a storm based on the damage you do. So if you deal lightning damage, I'm assuming you get a lightning storm. Thematic. But based on the highest type for the hit that triggered it. So you can, so if you're cycling between like cold and lightning, I wonder if you can be triggering two different storms at the same time with different skills. I would think you can. Grinding gear games is, they normally when something reads, it's probably exactly how it reads. You got to be careful with the words there, but it's like stationary fire, cold, or lightning storm at a target location for a duration based on the highest elemental damage type for the hit that triggered the storm. It sounds like if you're doing different hits of different damage, you can trigger multiple storms. That would be amazing. I would love to know. We will see. All right, number 3. So that's 1. Then we got 2. Okay, so like I said, I bet you 2 and 3 really relate to each other, right? So that's Elemental Storm. 3 is Elemental Storm has 150% more cooldown recovery rate. Oh, so there's a cooldown for it. And it's for a duration. Oh, so you might not be able to trigger it again until that cooldown. Okay. I don't like cooldown spells very much, but I'm sure if there's a cooldown on it, it's for a good reason. It's probably like a sweet effect and very powerful. Anyways, interesting. Wonder what the cooldown is. This 150% more cooldown recovery rate is, that's huge. Wow, that's a lot of... All right, so number 4, heavy snows. Targets can be affected by 2 of your chills at the same time. Wow. There's effects. They're like more damage against chilled enemies or things like that. So I wonder if that means like if they're slowed by 10%, they could be slowed by 20% for 2 chills. Yeah, your chills can reduce action speed by up to a maximum of 35%. 25% less magnitude of chill you inflict. I'm noticing this new word, magnitude. I've never seen this in Path of Exile. So that must be like the chill effect, I bet you, is kind of how that must be synonymous or similar. Okay. 25% less magnitude of chill you inflict, but you get to chill enemies twice. Okay, that's cool. Shaper of Winter. All damage from hits contributes to chill magnitude. All damage from hits contributes to chill magnitude. Does this mean that lightning damage from hits contributes to chill magnitude? Because that's the way I'm reading it. It's not saying all cold damage. Wow. Interesting. Strike twice. Targets can be affected by 2 of your shocks at the same time. 50% less shock duration. Wow. So shock, if you are new to the game, when you hit somebody with lightning damage, I think there's 2 ways. I think you could have a chance to shock, so your lightning damage has a chance to shock enemies, and if you're doing rapid lightning damage, you're going to have a higher chance that shock's going to happen quicker. But also with crits. So if you crit with lightning damage, it'll inflict a shock. Same with cold and fire. If you crit with cold, it freezes. If you crit with fire, I think it ignites. I think it still works that way. This is interesting, though. So you could have 2 shocks. And when you shock somebody, it increases the damage they take. Now you could apply that twice. So that must mean they take the affected shock, like the damage, the shock damage, I guess must be able to stack twice. That's amazing. Amazing. Okay, Shaper of Storms. All damage from hit. I already read that. That's got to mean that all damage from whatever hits can shock, including physical. Wow. I'm curious if that's what that means. I need to know, because that's going to be some wild misinformation if not. But it says all damage from hits. Constant Gale. You have Arcane Surge. Uh-oh. Arcane Surge grants 10% more cast speed, not increased, more. and 20% more mana regen rate. What? Okay. Okay. I made an Archmage video. Check that one out. This is going to be a super sweet stack with Archmage. It's all about you deal more damage based on the mana you spend. You get more lightning damage based on your max. Dropping pictures off the wall. All right. Get more damage based on your max mana, more lightning damage. Wow. This will help you regenerate even faster. I'm sure Arcane Surge and Archmage together are going to be a nice combination. That's really cool. Wow, this Stormweaver is a sweet Ascendant, just solid on its own. Force of Will, 1% increased effect of Arcane Surge on you per 15 max mana. So like I was saying, Archmage wants you to stack up that max mana to give you more lightning damage and spell damage. 1% increased effect of Arcane Surge per 15 max mana. So while also stacking that max mana, if you have Arcane Surge, it's just going to keep. That's amazing. All right, Heart of the Storm, 40% of elemental damage taken, recouped as energy shield. Another new word, recouped. Recouped. 40% of elemental damage taken is recouped as energy shield. So when you take damage, your energy shield, or elemental damage, your energy shield is healing. Wow. Huh, that's interesting. There's ways to use your energy shield as a spender, or the default for energy shield is a way to protect your life globe. So that's interesting. If you're taking elemental damage, your energy shield is going to be popping back up and protecting you. Wow. Stormweaver, that's a solid. If you want to be casting spells and doing big bangs, big flashy. Wow, Stormweaver, this looks sick. Gonna be a sweet combination with Archmage, I'm sure. I love Archmage, by the way. All right, what do we got next? So the other sorceress is the Chronomancer. Yeah, let's see. Chronomancer. I like how the Ascendancy is shaped like an hourglass. That's cool, because you know she fucks with time. All right. Chronomancer, number 1, now and again. Skills have 33% chance to not consume a cooldown when used. Wow. Okay. Nice. So I'm thinking of like Cold Snap. I wonder if that's still in the game. Love that spell. Okay. So number 1, that's here. So boop boop. I wonder what these minor nodes are. They always give you something, some like spell damage, or sometimes they're kind of related to the bigger ones. Yeah, so they didn't reveal what any of those minor ones are. So that's interesting. I'm curious what they are. So there's 1. Now number 2, the end here on the right side, grants skill Time Snap. Time Snap is a spell, manipulates time, resetting the cooldowns of other skills. What? Whoa. Okay. So a lot of cooldown resetting stuff here. That's cool. So you can have a 33% chance to not consume a cooldown when used. And you can also manipulate time resetting the cooldowns. Okay. All right, let's check out number 3. Oh, it's weird how they went this way, because you have to go this way, I'm sure. Is that intended? GGG, I'm really curious. Did you mean to do that? Because it looks like 3 actually is switched with 4. I don't think you can get them in this order. And remember, with all of these, I've seen now, so I think the Stormcaster, Stormweaver, yeah, she has 10. This one has 8 selections. We got to remember, you can only get up to 4 of these notables. You can't pick all of these. You have to pick 4, and you might not be able to pick all combinations either, depending on how they line up. Okay, well, anyways, number 3 is the skill, grants the skill Time Freeze. Releases a large wave that stops time for all affected enemies for a duration. Duration is lower the more times the enemy has had time stopped for them. Weird. Duration is lower the more times the enemy has had time stopped for... Oh, like if you're recasting it, maybe, I guess? Interesting. I wonder if you could add, like, increased duration support for any of these. Or if that's even a support gem in POE2. All right, number 4, footprints in the sand. So I wonder if these are supposed to be switched. Curious. GGG. Hire me to do quality control. I need a job. I'm desperately looking. All right. Temporal Rift is a spell. So this node grants Temporal Rift, which passively leaves after images of your recent past. Cast the spell to return to the oldest after image, teleporting to that location and resetting your life, mana, and energy shield to the values they had at the time. Crazy. Man, I feel like some of these, it's almost like you're going to have to just see them in action before you really understand how they behave. Wow. Hey, I'm all good for it, too. You used to be able to respec your Ascendancy points, too. So if, like, you're not sure and you try something out, you could pull them back out and try them later. I wonder if you'll have to... I wonder if it still abides by those same rules on the skill tree, or if there's something special you have to do to respec your Ascendancy points. All right, number 5, Quicksand Hourglass. Every 12 seconds, gain 50% more cast speed for 4 seconds. More cast speed. That is a lot. Crazy. Every 12 seconds, you're going to have a lot more cast speed for 4 seconds. So basically, 33% of the time, you're going to be doing a lot more cast speed. That's interesting. Enemies in your presence are slowed by 20%. That's another one. Apex of the moment. So another word here, presence. These are tags, right? We got to pay attention to these things. These are tags that we're going to see. Although Path of Exile 2 now has recommended gems, which is crazy awesome. It eliminates, if you're accidentally putting support gems on skills that don't actually affect them the way you think you are, the recommended thing is going to be a really good quality of life. So yeah, enemies in your presence are slowed by 20%. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Combine that with like Arctic armor. They hit you, they're also slowed even more. Doing cold damage, freezing, super sick. I wonder if temporal chains, it's a curse. I wonder if that's still in the game. Yeah, you curse with temporal chains and it slows them by like a lot. It's one of my favorite curses. It also makes like damage over time effects like last longer. Slows time for them basically. Wow. Circular Heartbeat, 30% of damage taken recouped as life. What? So it kind of turns you into a little bit of a sponge, huh? That's cool. The Rapid River recoup effects instead occur over 4 seconds. Oh, wow. Interesting. Damage taken recouped as life. But then you could turn that into like, it'll recoup over 4 seconds. That can be a nice effect when things linger, like a lingering heal. But I wonder, okay, interesting question on this one. When you hit your max life, does it stop? Or if like, you're recouping over 4 seconds, in 1 second you're back at max life, but you get hit again, will it continue? I think normally when you hit max life, those things are removed unless you have like a certain skill. So that'll be Rapid River. Will be interesting to see how that actually applies in the game. I have a feeling that once you do hit your total life, it's going to stop because you're full now. So, okay. All right, let's move on to the Warrior. Now, this is the class that I've been thinking about starting with. I got to say, though, the Stormweaver is a huge enticing, like, I love the Arcane Surge. I like this Elemental Storm a lot. Yeah, so we'll see. All right, the Warrior. This is what I've been super pumped on because I kind of want to go with something that just stacks a lot of armor, can take a lot of damage, like for a first character to not die as much and really learn the game. This is kind of where I'm thinking you could stun what it seems like pretty well, so we'll see. This is the Titan, the class that I thought that I was going to start with. We will see now. So Titan, looks like we have 8 Ascendancy notables. Okay. Starting with Stone Skin, 50% more armor from equipped body armor. Now that sounds like something from the old Juggernaut. There used to be an armor called the Brass Dome, which just had a ton of armor on it. And you combine that notable with Brass Dome, and you're just straight up Giga Chad, bro. Okay. Okay, so that's just a huge armor bonus if you're wearing a heavy armor chest. Number 2, Earth Breaker, 20% chance for slam skills. You use yourself to cause aftershocks. Okay, so can't work with totems. But aftershocks, that's 20. So 1 out of every 5 on average will cause aftershocks. So if we read the aftershocks do here, they are a bursts of area damage that occur after the initial impact of the skill causing them. If not otherwise specified, the aftershock will deal the same damage as the initial impact in the same area. Whoa. Sick. Okay, so if it's unmodified, you're getting an aftershock 20% of the time. That means 20% of the time you are doubling your damage output in an area. Crazy. Again, slam. So you got aftershock. We got these keywords to be paying attention to, these tags. All right, number 3, Ancestral Empowerment. Every second slam skill you use yourself is ancestrally boosted. So every other slam skill you use. So ancestral boost, an ancestrally boosted skill has 20% more damage and area effect. Dang. Wow, so imagine that combining with Earthbreaker. There's going to be times where they both line up at the same time. I wonder if there's an indication, like ancestral empowerment, if there's like a spirit that you see like around you when it actually ancestral boosts. I'm sure there is. They like to give you certain indicators that you can see like that. They're trying to make the game a little more visibly clear, so I'm certain you'll know when you're doing an ancestral boost, but I bet you the aftershock is just an aftershock. I don't know if you're actually going to see an indicator, but those things together, that's going to be huge. Big old just pop. All right, interesting. Colossal capacity. Well, let's look at where those are, by the way. So that's okay, so the armor ones, those are together. 2 and 3 are together. It makes sense. They should be together. It kind of sucks, though. If you want to ancestrally boost your slam skills, you do have to go through number 2. You can't, like... All right, got to make decisions, right? All right, number 4, Colossal Capacity. Carry a chest, which adds 20 inventory slots. Okay, just an Ascendancy point that expands your inventory? That's crazy. So that's on your character inventory, not your stash, I'm sure. Huh. I mean, that's pretty cool. I can't imagine that I'm going to be going for number 4, though, unless number 5 is... Oh, wow, number 5, Hulking Form. 50% increased effect of small passive skills. That's actually crazy. That's crazy. So if you're trying to do like a strength stacking character, does that mean that, you know, if the node is 10 strength, does that mean that it's 15? That's what I'm taking it as. That'll be huge for those attribute stacking characters. So you will get that inventory chest to get number 5. I'm not going to lie. It seems like the number 4 Colossal Capacity is a good quality of life, but I don't see like wanting... I feel like I'm going to feel bad putting a point to that just to get the hulking form, but I guess you got to think about it like I'm getting hulking form, so I'm going to have a huge inventory. Interesting. Okay. Well, number 6, It's down this new line here. So crushing impacts. Your hits are crushing blows. Oh, shit. There we go. Your hits are crushing blows. What is a crushing blow? Crushing blows cause a heavy stun on enemies that are primed for stun. Sick. Now, this is what I'm looking for. I love stun. Stun is like my favorite thing. I love crowd controls. I like heavy armors. I like stunning. I like freezing. I also like bleeds and damage over time and poisons, but be cool if there's a way to make like a stunning bleed character. That's what I'm going to be investigating like right away. Okay, so your hits are crushing blows, just straight up. That means when enemies are primed for stun, they're going to be heavy stunned. So that's good. Surprising strength, number 7 after number 6. 40% more damage against heavy stunned enemies. Great. Well, that's nice. You get them stunned and then you could like start finishing them off even faster. Okay, so mysterious lineage, number 8. Okay, that's the bottom. 15% more max life. Okay. Well, hold on. Let's read these stuns though. So, okay, we read crushing blows, so they have to be primed for stun. Primed for stun. Normal enemies are primed for stun when they have at least 40% heavy stun buildup. Magic enemies are primed at 60% buildup, and rare at 70%, and uniques at 80%. So you have to get like on bosses. What I'm mostly rare and bosses, what I'm mostly concerned about. So you got to get that build up to 70 and 80%. How do you build up? What does that mean? Primed for stun, heavy stun. So when you do a crushing blow, and they're primed for stun, it's going to be a heavy stun. And a heavy stun, hitting an enemy builds towards a heavy stun based on the damage dealt. Hitting an enemy builds towards... Different enemies have different heavy stun thresholds and durations. With very large monsters having a high heavy stun threshold, players cannot be heavy stunned. While an enemy is heavy stunned, they cannot act and count as immobilized. Okay. So they're immobilized. You're going to want to be like looking for stuff that does things while immobilized. Physical damage and melee damage each cause 50% more heavy stun buildup. These bonuses are multiplicative with each other. So physical damage and melee damage. So that means if you can get sources of additional like fire damage while keeping your physical damage, the fire will also count as melee damage. Okay, so that's good. Each costs 50% more heavy stun buildup. And the buildup is based on the damage dealt. Again, I think this is going to be one of those things that you're just going to have to see how it applies in game. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to be trying out this heavy stun, crushing blow stuff. And I'll probably be going, I don't know, that's hard. I mean, I want to do these like slams with aftershocks, but I might be wanting to go with like a really tanky. It depends. If you could stun reliably, then you're going to want to probably keep juicing up your damage. But if you can't, you need to survive when you're not able to stun. So I'd probably go with the... I was going to say armor, but I want that passive point bonus. Might be really nice. All right, well, interesting. Strength normally adds melee damage too, so that could be a thing. Titan, huh? Still think I'm going Titan. We'll see. Warbringer, I haven't even like seen this. I have no idea. It's the other Ascendancy for the warrior. Artwork looks sweet. Just killing a bunch of dogs. Animal abuser. That's okay. Just kidding. No, they're hyenas. They look like hyenas. So, all right. Anvil's weight. Break armor equal to 10% of hit damage dealt. So not damage per second, but the actual hit. And I remember that when I used to do stun builds, because you don't care about how fast you're attacking necessarily. You need that hit to do a lot of damage. I used to use that weapon, Tidebreaker. I love that weapon. I hope some of these things make a return. Like, it's always, I don't know. Some things are worth it. Like, Diablo 1 had Wind Force and Storm Shield. I like how they kind of They're just iconic. All right, so breaking armor, huh? Imploding impacts. You can break enemy armor to below 0. I have no idea what armor breaking like entails. I'm assuming that when their armor is broken, they're probably both easier to hit and they take more physical damage because they don't have armor. So that's cool. Makes sense. Jade Heritage grants the skill Encased in Jade. Gain a stack of Jade every second. So Encased in Jade consumes, it's a spell, consumes all stacks of Jade to grant a buff for a duration that absorbs all damage from hits up to a maximum based on the amount of Jade consumed. While encased, you cannot move or perform actions. Oh. Okay. Okay, but it's a buff, so I'm assuming that you can control when Encased in Jade happens. So it's like an oh shit button. That kind of makes sense. Uh-oh. Hit that Encased in Jade. You can't move or perform actions. But does that count of like drinking a potion? Interesting. If you have like good regen or like endurance charges, like maybe encasing will be a good way that you could just naturally like heal back up or something. I don't know. Very weird. I'm curious how that one plays out also in game. I'm also noticing he's got 9 notables. Some of these used to like connect, and so you could maybe go on the left side or the right side to get to the same point. I'm not really seeing that yet here in any of these trees, but that's okay. Let's look at number 4. Answered Call grants the skill Ancestral Spirits. Trigger Ancestral Spirits when you summon a totem. Oh, sweet. So just by raising a totem, you trigger Ancestral Spirits. And that is a minion skill. Each of your totems will summon an Ancestral Spirit minion to fight for you. If the totem that summoned the minion dies, then the Ancestral Spirit will too. Cool. So it's like you have some totems for support. You could also make those totems help you out with a little bit of extra minion support. I'm not sure how much damage they're going to do. I mean, knowing Grinding Gear games, though, they're making it a minion that fights for you. I'm assuming there's going to be ways to actually make them feasible. So, curious how that works out. Can you, like, attach minion stuff to that skill? If you're getting a granted skill, I don't even know how that shows up. Does it show up in, like, that window where you could add support gems? Who knows? Interesting though, if it does, then dang, you could like probably do some crazy stuff with this Ancestral Spirits on your totems. All right, number 5, Wooden Wall. This is after number 4, so you have to go up this path, so it probably relates to it. 20% of damage from hits is taken from your nearest totem's life before you. Wow. So you keep your totems up, and this is going to help you absorb a ton of damage. That is sick. So where's number 3? So 3, you can get Encased in Jade with just 1 Ascendancy like encounter, and then Wooden Wall is 4 more points. So those are things you can combine together, and that's like a lot of defense. That's a shit ton of defense. So you could have tankiness from your totems and Wooden Wall, and then a really sick oh shit button here. Wow. Renly's Training. Gain 40% base chance to block from equipped shield instead of the shield's value. Whoa, 40% base. I remember in Path of Exile 1, I feel like your average shield block chance is somewhere around 30, 28, 26, 30, maybe 32. So 40% base is cool instead of the shield's value. I wonder if there's any like shields in the game, like unique shields that drop that have terrible block chance. This would make it a blocking shield. I'm curious how this Renly's Training might have some really specific builds based on the unique shields we could find. I'm very curious about that. Interesting. Number 7, Turtle Charm. So this follows number 6. 35% less block chance. That's not like, so if your block chance is 40 and you have 35% less, that doesn't bring it down to 5. That takes that 40% and you lose about a third of it. So I'm assuming if you had 40% block and then you take this node, you're going to have somewhere around like 27, 28% chance to block. But you can block damage from all hits while shield is not raised. Oh, wait a second. Wait a second. If you're blocking, do you have to raise your shield? Blocking used to be a passive thing. Like you just block because you have a stat. Oh, shit. Wait. Wait, does this mean that blocking has to be like something you choose to do at the moment? Because that is going to change. That's going to change the way you play the game entirely. You used to just sit there and rely on, like, I've got 78% chance to block hits and spells, so I just don't care. This is like, oh shit, I've got to do stuff. Okay, now I can attack. That's kind of interesting. I'm not going to lie, I kind of hope that's the way it is, so you can't just cheese like really crazy hard content because you have spell block. Though I think you should be able to block spells and have a good chance, but I like being able to, like, you have to choose. It keeps you engaged. I'm curious if that's what that means. Huh. 8. Warcaller's Bellow. Corpses in your presence explode when you war cry, dealing 25% of their life as physical damage. What? And then number 9, Ignore war cry cooldowns. What? Okay. Does this mean not only like enemies that you've slain, but can you still use, what was that witch? What was that skill? There's like a, not decompose. It's like, what is it? There's a skill in POE1. Oh, I can't think of the name. Dude, I'm going to have to look. No, I'm not going to look it up. Well, anyway, it's like you cast this skill on the ground and it makes bodies for you. Just generic bodies. I can't think of the name of it. If you know what it is, put it in the comments for me. This is a hilarious moment. I swear it started with a D. It's not like D. Whatever. Can the Warbringer do that? Is if that skill's still in the game and just pop bodies? If that's the case, this looks tight. This looks amazing. So 8 and 9, and then wooden wall. I like that. Dude, I like that. Dang, Warbringer actually seems pretty freaking sick. This might be a good character to start with first. It could be a good hardcore character. Wow, maybe I should try Warbringer. I have a feeling I'm going to be disappointed with the stuns. I don't think that I'm going to be able to stun like I want to, and it's going to be kind of like a wasted thing. I don't know what to do now. This is crazy. I knew this was going to happen. All right, let's move on. I mean, dang, the warrior seems like he's like a really good, obviously really strong melee. I'm pretty pumped to try both of those out. All right, the ranger. I wonder how many people are not going to play ranger just because there's a mercenary now. All right, so we got the Deadeye, one of the same names of an Ascendancy from the first Path of Exile. Let's see, what do we got here? Oh, we got 4A and B. I'm wondering, okay, so you pick this point and must have to like select which way you're going to go with it. We've got 8 Ascendancy notables. Let's start with Avidity. Jeez. I notice GGG likes to really flex on us with their prowess with the English language. Thanks, friends. Avidity. Avidity? That's got to be what it is. All right. 30% chance that if you would gain frenzy charges, you instead gain up to your maximum number of frenzy charges. Crazy awesome. So if you're stacking them and spending them, you can get back up to topped out easily with that. That's amazing. Yeah. there's things that like require you to spend frenzy charges. There used to be something with like blood rage. It's also like discharge. You like discharge your charges, whatever kind they are, and they deal damage based on whatever charge you discharged. That's interesting. Thrilling Chase, number 2. Benefits from consuming frenzy charges for your skills have 50% chance to be doubled. Dang! What? So, if you are working with an effect that's like, I don't know because I don't know what these are, but obviously there's something for consuming frenzy charges. You might get like a way to consume a frenzy charge to gain movement speed, right? Well, that means that half the time that movement speed is going to be doubled. That's crazy. Or whatever the effect of consuming a frenzy charge has a 50% chance to be doubled. That's amazing. Eagle Eyes, you have no accuracy penalty at distance. Wow. I wonder how they're defining distance. Is that like anything that's outside of 33% range of like the middle of the screen maybe? We'll have to see. I'm sure when you like hover over these in game, it probably tells you exactly like what accuracy is, or like what I bet you it tells you what distance is. Anyways, Point Blank. Oh, I love Point Blank and Far Shot from the first game. Cool. Point Blank, projectile deal 20% more hit damage to targets in the first 3.5 meters of their movement. Scaling down with distance traveled to reach 0% after 7 meters. So that doesn't mean that they do zero damage. It just means they're not getting a damage bonus after 7 meters. So if you're really close, you're going to get a big damage buff, and then it just falls off to just no extra damage buff. Far Shot. So that's 4A. 4B is Far Shot. I'm assuming you can't pick both. Projectile deals 0% more damage, more hit damage to targets in the first 3.5 meters of their movement, scaling up with distance traveled to reach 20% after 7 meters. So it's literally the exact opposite of Point Blank. If you want to stay far away constantly and keep things at a distance, Far Shot's going to be an excellent choice for you. Or if you want to be, there used to be like a really like rain of arrows, or I forgot what they were called, but they'd come down in like explosions. Sometimes you just run up to them and use your quiver as blocking and be in melee range and just cast on your head as they attract to you. So that's where Point Blank can really come into play. Also, maybe if you're dealing with traps, I wonder if you could still lay mines, because I think Point Blank works for like mines. It counts as like where it's casted from. And if you cast it from a mine, enemies are going to trigger it on the mine. So yeah. Endless Munitions. Skills fire an additional projectile. Wow. Dope. That's a GG right there. Dang, dude. Just free extra projectile. No negative impact to that. Normally, like lesser or greater multiple projectiles, like decrease the damage of your projectiles, but give you more of them. So that's pretty cool. 6. Called Shots. You can apply an additional mark. What? A mark is kind of like a curse. I'm assuming. Wow, that's really sweet. There were marks where you mark your enemy and kill them, and give you frenzy charges or power charges, so that really applies very good with number 1. That's awesome. Gathering Winds, number 7, gain Tailwind on skill use. So you just use a skill and gain Tailwind. Lose all Tailwind when hit. So Tailwind is a stacking buff which grants 1% increased movement speed, 3% increased skill speed, and 15% increased evasion rating per stack for 10 seconds, refreshing whenever you gain another stack, maximum 10 stacks. So you can get up to 10 stacks. Whoa. Whoa. I wonder if there's still a skill that's similar to like acrobatics and phase acrobatics. I used to love those skills. It's like just straight up dodging spell damage and stuff. Then you have evasion. Evasion and dodge are different, so like you could stack both of them and really be hard to hit. That's super cool. Wind Ward number 8, 3% less damage taken per Tailwind, less not reduced, less. That's a huge, huge benefit right there. So if you have 10 stacks, dude, that's 30% less damage taken. That's a strong ascendancy right there. I mean, dang. Oh, there used to be a mod too where it's like more evasion or whatever. Maybe it was even dodge. I don't know, per frenzy charge. So you want to stack frenzy charges. And then you can get like, dude, I don't know. Wow, that's awesome. Okay. Deadeye, great choice for the Ranger. I feel like the Ranger is going to be a sleeper class. I think a lot of people aren't going to play it because it's one of the ones from the first game, but this is a pretty good deal different, and I think people are going to be definitely sleeping on this one. What do you want to bet? We're going to see some surprise content from creators that are running the Ranger that are just straight up crushing it, and then people are going to shift over to Ranger. Maybe I'll try a Ranger. Might be like second character I try. I love the bow classes. It was actually the class that got me into Path of Exile. I quit twice because it was just very confusing and hard for me. I kind of couldn't get it. I mean, I'll be transparent. I'm not like the best gamer. I'm a pretty hardcore scrub, man. But on the third attempt, I finally really got it, and it was the bow class. I played with a Ranger, and I liked the feeling of shooting an arrow and it hitting the enemies. It just felt really good. It wasn't mega huge and flashy. It was just like shooting an arrow, and it felt like impact, and I really liked the feedback I got from shooting a regular arrow. Sick. I like rain of arrows too, because it's not like thunder, lightning, flashy. It's just like a fat carpet of arrows, just fat. Like, love it. Love the simplicity of it, but also feels like it's very impactful. It's like this funny dichotomy. All right, let's move on to the next Ranger, Pathfinder. It's another Ascendancy name that we're familiar with from Path of Exile 1, but I'm pretty sure it's quite a bit different. All right, what do we got for Pathfinder? Number 1. Whoa, look at this 5. The 5th notable has a lot of... Okay, you got to pick one. All right. Number 1, Connected Chemistry, 50% more flask charges gained. That is awesome. You're going to be full up on your flask charges way more often. That is sick. Connected Chemistry. Yeah, 50% more flask charges gained. That is very, very sick. Okay, number 2, Enduring Elixirs. So this trails into number 2. Life flask effects are not removed when unreserved life is filled. Life flask effects do not queue. Okay, this is one of those ones that can like make your brain like start to have error codes. So this means when you use a life flask and you heal and it hits to the top of your life, it's still working. So if you were to take a hit, you're going to heal again until that life flask healing duration is finished. So if it's like over 7 seconds, if you've healed in 2 seconds, you get more recovery for 5 more seconds. It's amazing. And life flask effects do not queue. Do not queue. So if you press it twice, it would wait till it's done and then do the next one. But this means you could just like, this means you could like smash your life flask. If you've got a cool effect on your life flask, you could like hit it multiple times. I don't know how that's going to apply. Super curious about it though. Number 3, Contagious Contamination. The most damaging poison on enemies you kill is spread to other enemies within 1.5 meters. So like 4.5 feet all around you, or all around where that enemy dies. Okay, that's amazing. I love poison characters. I love dealing damage over time. This is going to be a really, almost, it seems like this is going to be required if you're doing some sort of poison build with a Pathfinder. That's going to help you clear so much faster. It's going to help you make sure you're applying damage. Super sick. Okay. Overwhelming toxicity. Double the number of poisons you can inflict on enemies. Double the number of poisons you can inflict on enemies. Okay, that's interesting because poison used to be uncapped. It was like it did a certain duration, but if you could attack fast enough, you can continue inflicting poisons just based on however many times you can apply it within the duration. I wonder if Path of Exile 2 has a limit on the number of poisons you can inflict. I don't see any notes on that anywhere, but that's kind of what it sounds like. But this one would let you double the number of poisons you can inflict. I'm reading that as like there's got to be some sort of poison infliction cap. Or you're just doubling the poisons you are inflicting. I don't know. All right, let's get into this number 5 cluster right here. You got to pick between 5 different options. So it's brew concoction. And it looks like it's an attack. Consume charges from your mana flask to throw a bottle that explodes. Dealing unarmed chaos attack damage in an area. Poison inflicted by the skill has more effect. Okay, so this turns your mana flask into a bottle throwing escapade. You be around here just throwing beer bottles, getting pissed off from the pub night, just like, I don't even turn my tab down. You're shutting off my drinks because it's 2 a.m. Just throwing bottles everywhere. Dude, are we going to have a drunk ranger? This is going to be awesome. So, okay, looks like you have different types. So that's like a poison one. Same thing with throwing a mana to get lightning attack damage. Okay, and inflicting lightning exposure. Shattering concoction does cold attack damage and cold exposure, and then fire exposure. And a bleeding one. Physical damage and bleeding inflicted by this skill has more effect. Okay, so yeah, you can just throw your mana flask. Just get out of my way. Just drunk ranger, drunk Pathfinder, homeless ranger. Let's go. It's amazing. What, dude? I've never seen anything like that before. It's amazing. Just throwing bottles. I hope that it makes like a glass popping sound. That would be amazing. All right, so what we got? Traveler's Wisdom. Gain 5 passive skill points. Grants 5 passive skill points. Wow, that basically is like 5 extra levels. That's amazing. I mean, that's like a whole cluster that you can like do. Sick. All right, number 7, Running Assault. 30% less movement speed penalty when using skills while moving. Sweet, that WASD movement. It's going to be even more fluid. Nice. Number 8, Relentless Pursuit. Your speed is unaffected by slows. What? Oh, that's sick. Dude, yeah, if you don't have a lot of like resistance to cold and stuff, you're going to be getting chilled and slowed down. That is a very sweet, that's a sweet ass quality of life right there. Dang, Pathfinder that's a cool looking build. Flasking, throwing bottles, dude, just popping bottles everywhere. Like it. That's very interesting. Pathfinder's an interesting name, though. It should just be a drunkard. No, I'm just kidding. Call my guy Farnham. Alright, the Witch! Blood Mage! Let's go! This is one of the characters I'm also thinking about maybe starting with. Blood Mage. Dang, that artwork looks tight. That is sweet. Oh, it's in the shape of a heart. That's funny. Okay. Alright, number 1, Sanguimancy. Grants skill life remnants. Skills gain a base life cost equal to base mana cost. Okay, so kind of like blood magic. Life remnants. Drinks the blood of your enemies to restore your life. While active, enemies you kill have a chance to spawn a life remnant, and critically hitting a target spawns a life remnant every few seconds. Picking up a life remnant grants you life, which can overflow maximum life. I don't know what this overflow means, but I wonder if it's that same kind of thing where once you heal to your max life, if you take more damage, it still heals. I don't know, or overflow. Overflow. I don't understand what that means. I need to know what overflow means because that's really important. Sounds like critically hitting them is like pretty sweet too. Vitality Siphon, 10% of spell damage leached as life. Wow. Well, that makes sense with Sanguimancy, right? So, oh, see what I mean? So you have this one leads into everything. You have to get Sanguimancy to get into anything else for this tree. Okay. Okay, so that's just going to be a thing if you're picking a blood mage. This is just going to be happening no matter what you choose else on the tree. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, spell damage. 10% of your spell damage leeches life seems very amazing. Open swords. Your curses have infinite duration. Okay, pretty sweet quality of life. Blood barbs to gain 10% of damage as extra physical damage. Sweet. Elemental damage also contributes to bleeding magnitude. Okay, we're going to be able to make a crazy bleeding spellcaster that doesn't need to be doing physical damage. That's crazy. That's crazy awesome. Gore Spike, 1% increased critical damage bonus per 40 life? What? That's nice. Wow, life stacking, get mad crit damage. That's cool. Sun to the Flesh, base crit hit chance for spells is 15%. That's a massive buff to change the base, because like spells typically are like 5% base crit chance, maybe 7 depending on the spell. At least that's what was in Path of Exile 1. So getting that up to crit reliably required a huge investment. This is a big notable to help that out. So wow, that's a nice one. Number 6. Where's that? Okay, I mean that's an investment. That's 6 of your points just to get. Okay. Grasping Wounds, 25% of life lost from hits is prevented, then that much life is lost over 4 seconds instead. So it gives you a delay on the damage that you're taking. That actually is very nice. Spreads it out. It's over here. Okay. I'm trying to think of what you can combine this number 6 with, because you'll only have one other option. Okay. Crimson Power, gain energy shield from equipped body armor as extra max life. Oh, shit. Obviously, number 8 and 5 really synergize very well together. But you're not going to be able to get 6 and 8. Got to make some good decisions here. All right. Let's check out the Infernalist. It's the other witch. Okay, Altered Flesh. 20% of cold damage taken as extra fire. 20% of lightning damage taken as fire damage. 20% of physical damage taken as chaos damage. So rewarding you for having a lot of good fire and chaos resistance. Okay. Bidat's Gaze. Reserves 25% of life. 1 to max mana per 6 max life. Nice. Nice. Giving you some. Okay, this might be a good Archmage setup as well, huh? Huh, okay. Bidat's Will reserves 25% of your life, but 1 to max Spirit per 25 life. Okay. And Bidat's Hand, reserving that 25% life, 1 to maximum Energy Shield per 8 max life. Interesting. Demonic Possession grants skill Demon Form. So this shapeshifts you into a demon, vastly boosting the power of your spells. You gain Demon Flame every second you remain in demon form, causing your life to be lost at an ever-increasing rate. Revert to human form if you reach 1 life. Use a skill that isn't a spell or reactivate this skill. Interesting. So I wonder if there's like a good way to like have energy shield but using demon form, and it just shifts you back, but you're kind of relying on energy shield to take damage. I don't know. That's interesting. Okay. It's a lot to take in. This is a lot to take in. Pyromantic Pact. Max mana is replaced by maximum infernal flame. No fucking clue what that is. Gain infernal flame instead of spending mana for skill costs. Okay. So instead you're gaining infernal flame when you use a skill. Take maximum life and energy shield as fire damage when infernal flame reaches maximum. Oh. Lose all infernal flame on reaching maximum infernal flame. 10% of infernal flame lost per second if none was gained in the past 2 seconds. I have no clue how this applies. What is infernal flame? Demon flame? Okay, interesting. Bringer of Flame. While not on low Infernal Flame, all damage from you and allies in your presence contributes to Ignite, Chance, and Magnitude. Whoa! I love Ignite characters. That's going to be interesting. Seething Body. While on high Infernal Flame, you and allies in your presence gain 20% of damage as fire damage. Crazy. Okay. Loyal Hellhound. Grants the skill Summon Infernal Hound. 20% of damage from hits is taken from your Hellhound's life before you. Here's the skill description. It's a minion, summons a reviving Infernal Hellhound, which ignites enemies near it. The Hound takes a portion of damage from hits for you. So Bringer of Flame and the Hellhound would be a cool interaction, because he's igniting enemies, but when you have Bringer of Flame and not on low Infernal Flame, all damage from you and allies contribute to the Ignite, Chance, and Magnitude, so that's interesting. He could just ignite for you, and you just do damage. I wonder how that applies. That's pretty cool. Grinning Immolation. Become ignited when you deal a critical hit, taking 15% of your life and energy shield as fire damage per second. That's fucking crazy. 30% more critical damage bonus. Whoa, that's a lot to think about. That is brutal. I'm curious how this Hellhound and Bringer of Flame apply to each other. So it's 10 and 8. So 8, 10. Yeah, you can do it. Wow, crazy. All right, let's check out the Mercenary Witchhunter. Weapon Master 20. Passive skill points become weapon set skill points. Okay. So that means they're, what, interchangeable on different weapons, huh? Pitiless Killer. Culling Strike. Culling Strike means culling strikes kill normal enemies if their life is at 30% or below. Sick. Magic enemies are instead killed at 20% or lower, rare at 10% and lower, and unique at 5% and lower. These thresholds are checked before the damage of the hit is applied. That's amazing too. So you don't even need to do damage, just if you hit them at below these thresholds. I'm noticing it looks like uniques were nerfed to be 5%, but I'm assuming that's because they're intending bosses to be longer fights. So I bet you still that 5% is going to be incredibly valuable at an end game or whatever. Okay. Judge, Jury, and Executioner. Decimating Strike. This means hits against full life enemies remove between 5% and 30% of life before the damage of the hit is applied. Crazy. So if you're trying to ignite with your hit, they might lose 30% of their life first, and then you ignite them. Wow, I wonder if there's a good way that you could do Decimating Strike with igniting, like a burning mercenary, and then also using Culling Strike. That's very interesting. All right, Witchbane. Enemies have maximum concentration equal to 40% of their max life. Okay. Concentration. Enemies have less cooldown recovery rate the lower their concentration. Well, that's good. You want, okay, so they're things that they cast on cooldown are going to be less if you have this Witchbane, scaling down to 50% less cooldown recovery rate when concentration is 0%. Okay, so break enemy concentration on hit equal to 100% of damage dealt. Okay, so as you're dealing damage, you're going to be reducing their ability to cast stuff quicker, so that's good. Enemies regain 10% of concentration every second if they haven't lost concentration in the past 5 seconds. All right. Number 5, No Mercy. Deal up to 30% more damage to enemies based on their missing concentration. Oh, wow. Those go together real well, of course. Okay. Obsessive Rituals grants the skill Sorcery Ward. 50% less armor and evasion rating. Sorcery Ward passively is a spell. Passively manifests a protective barrier which takes elemental damage from hits for you until depleted. Sick! The barrier instantly recharges to its full value a short time after it stops taking damage or is fully depleted. So that's just passive, totally passive, huge defense for you. That is crazy, but it only takes elemental damage from hits. Okay, so that's a big sacrifice on your armor then. That's interesting. Right on. Okay. Ceremonial Ablution. 50% increased effect of Sorcery Ward. Sorcery Ward recovers 50% faster. Wow. I'm curious how this Sorcery Ward, that might be a really sweet defensive mechanic. The last one, Zealous Inquisition. 10% chance for enemies you kill to explode, dealing 100% of their max life. Has physical damage. Chance is doubled against undead and demons. Nice. I love that. I love exploding bodies, popping bodies, dude. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Good way to cull. Curious about this concentration. That might be like a really good... It might play out better than it sounds, so I'm curious about that. Gemling Legionnaire, the other ascendancy for the Mercenary. All right, number 1, Crystalline Potential, 10% equality of all skills. Dang! Getting an extra quality on your skill gems in POE1 could have incredible effect. So having a skill that's giving you 10% into quality and you could still probably increase the quality outside of that is amazing. Implanted gems, 1 to level of all skills. Dang! Wow, advanced thaumaturgy. 30% less cost of skills. Skill gems have 30% more attribute requirements. Okay. Integrated efficiency grants 3 additional skill slots. Dang! Oh, wow. Gem studded. You can use 2 copies of the same support gem in different skills. Hey, wow, this guy's all about messing with the gems and the levels and qualities, and you could use the same support gem in different skills. That's unique, very unique to this ascendancy. Thaumaturgical infusion. Okay, 1 to max cold resist per 4 blue support gems. Okay, same thing for fire per red gems and lightning for green gems. Interesting. Stacking these max resistances in endgame is a great way to get yourself a lot stronger. That I mean, that could be huge right there. I wonder if that's just anywhere, like 4 blue gems anywhere socketed in your... Must be. Adaptive capability. Attribute requirements of gems can be satisfied by your highest attribute. Dang! Huh. Okay. Enhanced effectiveness. Inherent bonuses from intelligence, strength, and dexterity are doubled. Okay. Wow, that's a super interesting... I'm very curious how this plays out. This feels like it's going to be a little bit more of like an end game. Like, yeah, I feel like this one might struggle to level up, but in the end game, it's probably going to have a huge impact. All right, the monk, the last one. This is like the other melee character I'm thinking about starting with. We'll see how these play out. So we got the Invoker. Number 1, lead me through grace. Gain 1 spirit for every 6 energy shield on equipped body armor. Gain 1 spirit for every 15 evasion on equipped body armor. Cannot gain spirit from equipment. Wow, so evasion energy shield armor is going to be pumping you up on spirit, with the downside of not being able to have spirit from equipment. Okay. And protect me from harm. Evasion rating also grants physical damage reduction. What? I love evading. Dodging. I love that. 40% less evasion rating. So that kind of nerfs your evasion rating pretty good. But wow. Okay. Faith is a choice. Grants the skill meditate. And meditate channels to recharge energy shield. Can overcharge your energy shield. What does overcharge mean? Up to double its normal maximum. Channeling ends when you take damage or your energy shield is double its normal maximum. This skill cannot be used if your energy shield is already double its normal maximum or you have no maximum energy shield. Okay. I am the Blizzard. Gain 10% of damage as extra cold damage. On freezing enemies, create chilled ground. Well, that's going to be a good one if you're going with cold, that's for sure. And then crowd control, when you freeze enemies, you create chilled ground so other enemies are chilled. Awesome. I am the thunder. Gain 10% of it damage as extra lightning damage. 25% chance on shocking enemies to create shocking ground. So when they're on shocked ground, they're shocked. So that's cool. So basically you're spreading your shocks or your chills. Very cool. And I Shall Rage grants the skill Unbound Avatar, which is a buff. Gain Unbound Fury by inflicting elemental ailments with hits on enemies. Once you reach maximum Unbound Fury, consume it to become unbound for a duration, vastly augmenting your elemental prowess. I wonder what it means by vastly. So you just gain this by inflicting ailments with hits. So either by critting or having those chance to do these ailments. That's sweet. So number 6. Okay, so it's a double one. Oh, look, so this one is you could either go with 4 to 6 or 5 to 6. So that means you can go with cold and get to this Unbound Avatar, or go with thunder. All right, cool. Number 7, the Soul Springs Eternal. Meta skills gain 35% more energy. Don't know what meta skills are. All right, Sunder my enemies. Critical hits ignore non-negative enemy monster elemental resistances. That is fucking huge right there. That is huge. So you don't even have to worry about curses or anything. If you crit on an enemy with like elemental damage, you're going to be considering them as not having any resistances. Not negative, but none. That's strong as fuck right there. That is super strong. So you can get that and also be going with, so you could be doing like cold and lightning. Wow, yeah, crazy. Okay, I wonder how that's going to be applying with this, maybe picking one or both of these thunder and blizzards, creating the ailments, stacking crit, and dropping bells. How's that going to work? You can drop that bell and it does damage to enemies around, right? So that, I might want to be trying the Invoker. That's amazing. And the last one, and scatter them to the winds. Grants the skill Elemental Expression. Trigger Elemental Expression on melee critical hit. Again, what I was just talking about. So it's a spell, creates a fiery explosion, an arcing bolt of lightning, or an icy wave of projectiles. The chance for an explosion is proportional to your strength. For a bolt, proportional to your dexterity. For a wave, proportional to your intelligence. Okay, so if you're stacking one of those higher, you're going to have a higher chance of doing that effect. I'm wondering how impactful those are, how much damage they're going to do, or how much crowd control, because that could be a really cool additive, or maybe something skipped from one of these other stronger ones, like the number 2 evasion. Oh, no, you can't get over to that one. Wow, okay. Well, that's an interesting one. The Invoker looks really cool. Last one, Acolyte of Chayula. I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay, just right off the bat, it looks like there's some chaos on here. Or maybe it's just a Chayula. All right, Ravenous Doubts. Mana Leech is instant. Crap. That's cool. Mind over matter. Consuming Questions. You cannot recharge Energy Shield. Mana Leech effects also recover Energy Shield. That's sick. Okay, so like if you do Mana Leech is instant, and this one is your Energy Shield Leech instant, I'm sure it is. Chayula's Gift, 10% to maximum chaos resistance. That's gigantic. Getting any max resistance hard to find. 10 is crazy. Chaos resistance is doubled. I remember in POE1, chaos resistance was hard to find. It was hard to stack. So this might be the same thing with POE2, and this mod right here with chaos resistance doubled might be extremely powerful. Okay, Reality Bending, 23% chance to gain 25% of damage with hits as extra chaos, or 13% chance for 50% of damage as extra chaos, or a 7% chance to gain 100% of damage with hits as extra chaos. Wow. I don't know if this still applies, but chaos damage used to also have like a chance to poison. So, yeah. Waking Dream grants the skill Into the Breach. What? Into the Breach is a buff. Creates a breach around you. Shut up. This guy's a walking league mechanic? This guy's a walking breach league mechanic? Creates a breach around you, allowing you to see nearby flames of Chayula. You are considered to be in a breach while this skill is active. Are you freaking kidding me? Effect and duration of flames of Chayula on you is double. So here it is. Collecting flames of Chayula grants the following bonuses. Red flames leech 7% of your max life to you. Blue flames 7% of your max mana to you. Purple flames provide a stacking buff granting 7% of damage as chaos damage for 5 seconds and stacks up to 10 times. Crazy. Embrace the Darkness removes all spirit. Base maximum darkness is 100. For each life or energy shield lost to damage, reserve 1 darkness instead, if possible. Darkness reservation lasts for 10 seconds, plus 5 to maximum darkness per level. Oh, shit. So if you're level 100, that's 500 to maximum darkness, which brings you up to 600. You can get up to 600. I wonder if there's any other mods on gear. So you reserve darkness. This node alone doesn't look like it's doing anything for you, but it leads into 8 and 9. And it looks like you could choose or maybe choose both. Gain 8 is Grasp of the Void. Gain 1% of damage as extra chaos damage per 20 unreserved darkness. Oh, snap. Big chaos hits right there. Inner Silence, 50% reduced darkness reservation duration. Okay. Wow, the monk is interesting. Dang. I have a feeling this one's going to be really good, especially in the end game. I mean, most of it's going to be end game anyway if we're talking about farther down these Ascendancy trees, but for the monk, I'm looking at Invoker. That looks crazy sick. Mercenaries. Dude, this Gemling one looks crazy, but if I tried a Mercenary, I think I'd go with this one first. I don't understand the Infernalist. But Blood Mage, if I'm going Witch, I'm going Blood Mage probably first. Very curious how that's going to work. I'm really excited for like the crit chance and the life stacking stuff. I really think that's super sick, and the spell damage leeches life. I'm so freaking curious about the Pathfinder throwing bottles everywhere. It sounds like she's a drunk chick just throwing her mana potions and just pissing everyone off. Super sick, dude. All right, and the Deadeye seems like a really standard, strong archer build, but dude, I don't know. Warrior, either Titan or Warbringer, I kind of can't choose. This is crazy hard. The Chronomancer sounds so insane with all the different time stuff. That's brutal. I'm sure people are going to figure out some absolutely insane shit with that one. But the Stormweaver for me is where I'm going to probably start if I go with Sorceress. All right, that's it, you guys. That's the wrap-up of these Ascendancies. I mean, that was kind of my first reaction take on these. I'm sure that the more you read these, the deeper it's going to get. I can't pick. What are you guys going to go with? Does this change the way you're leaning? Let me know in the comments. Like, what do you think is going to be your top class, or maybe top 3? Sometimes I'll start with a character, but I'll have a backup if I get bored, or if I get stuck, or if I break my character. But right now, I'm thinking it's going to be... I'm kind of changing maybe to the monk with maybe the Sorceress and Stormweaver. The Warrior with the Titan. I really want to see how the stuns work with that. That's crazy. Or the Witch with the Blood Mage, dude. That's just crazy. Let me know your thoughts. What are you going to start with? I'm really curious. I'm going to be live streaming the day that the game's released. Also, remember to pre-download this content. I got a video up there. It kind of tells you how to do it. It's pretty simple. But yeah, if you like this type of content, you want to see more Path of Exile 2 content, I would greatly appreciate if you gave this video a like, comment down below. I love engaging with everyone. We could have conversations, talk about what skills and what parts of these trees really stand out to you. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, it'll help me out greatly. I'm really looking forward to just making a lot more content, a lot more for you guys, and that's why I'm looking for the engagement here. You know, what interests you the most? I'd be really interested in trying out new things, and I get kind of pigeonholed myself into stuff, and I'll go down one avenue. But you know, if I get some good conversations going with you guys, maybe it'll open me up to other things, and I'm willing to try. So just let me know. But be prepared. I am a scrub. I'm going to be dying a lot. If you want to see that and probably watch how much it's going to rage me out, then check me out on launch day. I'll be streaming on YouTube. So I really appreciate this. Let me know what your thoughts are, what you think you're going to be doing for your starter, and give me a like and a subscribe. Until next time, I hope you keep leveling up, keep learning. Love you all, and I'll see you soon. Peace out.